This is your coach Grace, and this is our fourth and last lesson on personalities and work. Although we have barely scratched the surface on this course, giving ourselves to practicing these important lessons will help us work effectively with diverse personalities and will also be able to appreciate the unique skills and strengths that each personality brings along in the workplace. Today we will look at personalities and emotions in the workplace, and then make a brief summary at the end of the class. We will zero in particularly on anger because this is one emotion that is very difficult to deal with as compared to other emotions like dealing with people who are talkative, timid, quiet, and the like. Recently, sadly, I was told of a case of someone who was contemplating suicide, mainly because they were in a very hostile environment. And that is why we must choose to deal with individuals with more understanding and stable emotions and learn how to cope with angry and hostile people and work environments as well. So how do we cope with anger and hostility? In the workplace, we encounter individuals who are angry and at times individuals who are hostile and also both. Or worse, we can find ourselves in workplace environments that are angry and hostile. The normal communication style being that of commanding, quarreling, shouting, gossiping, and the like. I mean, the environment is just angry and hostile. How can you cope in such an environment? I don't want us to learn that because we must learn how to handle such individuals and situations for the betterment of ourselves and our progress in the workplace. Number one, do not entertain angry thoughts and attitudes. Even if you find yourself in such an environment, do not entertain angry thoughts and attitudes. Remember, anger can be transferred in terms of attitudes and thought patterns. If you are always in an angry environment, you'll find yourself getting angry often. Angry people make other people angry. Just as a smile or laughter is contagious, angry people will always make other people angry. This means that you must make a deliberate effort. You must make a deliberate effort to maintain positive thoughts and patterns to combat those of anger and hostility. Because if you do not make that deliberate effort, you will find yourself in the same pattern of anger and hostility. You have the power to choose and maintain your mood for the day. You have the power to choose and maintain your mood for the day. Don't allow someone else to decide how your day will be. Do not allow those negative emotions to rub on you. Can you have a nice song playing in your mind or in the background, for example? Could you choose to put on a smile and be deliberate not to get into scuffles that are unnecessary? Could you be the peacemaker, bringing peace and sanity among your colleagues? Remember, you have the power. Do not entertain negative thoughts and attitudes. Choose to be different and choose to maintain your mood for the day. Number two, stick to your lanes. Stick to your lanes. In the case where the hostility is coming from individuals with higher hierarchy in the workplace, it is good to steer clear of such individuals and ensure that you do not agitate them. Like, you don't have to answer back with the same harsh tone. Keep your peace. Remember, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. Proverbs 15 and verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. While it may seem docile, this helps to keep the peace and hence make your work environment more conducive. Stick to the lanes and do not answer back with the same harsh tone. Number 3, learn how different temperaments and individuals manifest anger and hostility. Take time to understand different people within your work environment. This means that you will know what pushes them to moments of anger and hostility, and you will then be able to maximize on avoiding such situations. If laziness or late submission of work agitates your boss, then pull up your socks and things will be a lot better. Number 4, leave the environment. Leave the environment. Environments full of anger and hostility are toxic and should be avoided at all costs. Environments full of anger and hostility are toxic and should be avoided at all costs. In extreme cases, it affects your growth and ability to work. In extreme cases, it affects your growth and ability to work. This requires an individual to leave the said environment for the sake of your well-being, mentally and emotionally. Remember that our emotions have a direct effect on how we perceive the world around us. Our emotions have a direct effect on how we perceive the world around us. I guess most of us heard of this story, especially when we were young and growing up, where there was this man who was angry or got angry. Then he met his wife and scolded her, scolded the wife. In return, the wife became angry at their child and flogged him for no apparent reason. The child in turn went out crying and found their cat and beat it up furiously. All this drama because of a man who did not know how to manage the emotions properly. In extreme cases, please leave. In extreme cases, at times, it is required of us to leave the whole workplace or environment because of our mental and emotional well-being. Remember, you have a life outside the workplace. You have a life outside that environment for the sake of your well-being, mentally and emotionally, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your children, if you have children, for the sake of your family. You may be forced to leave that environment because of your, again, mental and emotional well-being. I can give examples after examples where one just ought to pack and leave for the sake of their sanity. Recently, We had traveled and needed to spend at a guest house or hotel. And humorously, sorry to say, we came across a very, very angry and agitated man who had this big facility, but with no customers, plus a very fearful employee who is there because of money, but looking for the first opportunity to exit because of a man who cannot control his anger emotions. Can you imagine? Having a very big, nice facility, but not being able to keep customers or employees because of your anger issues. They say it is better to live than be sorry. If you find yourself in certain environments that are full of anger and hostility, at times it is just better to live than be sorry. Number 5, anger stifles communication. Anger chokes or suffocates communication. While in the workplace, you must remember that anger will always be a barrier to effective communication. Anger will always be a barrier to effective communication, which inversely means that positive emotions such as happiness and friendliness will always foster effective and better communication. Happiness and friendliness will always foster effective and better communications. What does this mean? This means that as an individual, you must make a point to manage your emotions. Make a point to manage your emotions so as to allow you to communicate effectively without anger, directing your thoughts, and finally, your words. Things said in anger rarely do any good for the recipient of the message. Please remember this. Things said in anger rarely do any good for the recipient of the message. For example, just as you don't expect to raise an emotionally stable child from a hostile environment, the atmosphere changes immediately with raw harsh words to colleagues at the workplace. And this, of course, affects productivity. I have seen this especially with children, and it applies to adults as well. When you give a child a chore using the right words and emotions, they will do it. Maybe not so happily, but with the right attitude. Now, when you shout and scold them to work, they will do it with tears and a broken heart. Which is the better scenario? Manage your emotions. It will bring the better or best, not the good, not the ugly, and certainly not the worst. So, manage your emotions. Anger suffocates emotions. Anger chokes emotions. So, learn to manage your emotions. Why? It will bring the better or best, and not the good, not the ugly, and certainly not the worst in the workplace. Anger and masculinity, a subtopic. Anger and masculinity. Over the years, it has been said that anger is a masculine emotion. This has been said in the family and social environment, as well as in the workplace environment. When a man is angry or hostile in the workplace, he is deemed assertive and focused. But when a woman acts in a similar manner, she is difficult and very disrespectful. It should be clear that anger is not a gender issue, but rather an individual emotional issue. It is not okay for anyone, whether male or female, to be angry in the workplace or any other environment. And in the case they are angry, there are better ways to communicate why they are angry without being disrespectful or malicious towards other people. Anger management is an art that should be taught and practiced in the work environment. And emotional intelligence will enable you thrive in the workplace. Emotional intelligence will enable you thrive in the workplace. That is, understand, use, and manage your emotions in a positive way. Understand, use, and manage your emotions in a positive way. As I conclude, as individuals, we have different personalities and encounter different personalities in the workplace. I think that is very obvious up to now. It is therefore our responsibility to be self-aware in order for us to maximize our relationships with others in the workplace. Lack of understanding of different personalities is a barrier to proper communication and synergy in the work environment. And it has adverse effects on our personal productivity as well as the overall productivity of our organizations. Constant fear, hostility, and anger is an abuse of one's temperament and personality. Constant fear, hostility, and anger is an abuse of one's temperament. Our personalities should not define us, but should rather be a doorway to understanding and improving on ourselves. Our personalities should never define us, but should rather be a doorway to understanding and improving ourselves. As we conclude our course on personality and work, let us go back to our analogy between the workplace and a football team. The team is formed or exists for one purpose: to play and win matches, to be the best in the World Cup. This is the ultimate unifier. So, always remember to prioritize your ultimate purpose above your emotions. Always remember to prioritize your ultimate purpose above your emotions. The success of the team or the workplace depends on how they're able to bring the best out of every member or out of every member of the team or the workplace, and how they're able to cooperate and play or work together as a team through demonstrating effective teamwork. I'll come again. The success of the team depends on how they're able to bring the best out of every member and how they're able to cooperate and play as one team through demonstrating effective teamwork. In conclusion, it is important that we take responsibility and ensure the success of our homes, the success of our workplaces, by how we build and encourage different individuals with different personalities and tapping into their potentials. When you understand people, you have more empathy and compassion for them. C, take proactive measures to shape the culture of respect. This cannot be overemphasized. Take proactive measures to shape the culture of respect, be it at home or in your work environment. D, model empathetic communication. Model empathetic communication. Tailor your own communication to the person you are interacting with. For example, if you know they are soft-spoken, be extra sensitive when conversing with them. If they tend to be direct, approach the conversation with equal directness. That is modeling empathetic communication. E, don't take conflicts personally. People act the way they do because of their own issues and not because of your character. Please remember that. People act the way they do because of their own issues and not because of your character. So don't take conflicts personally. And finally, F, remember, in our diversities, there is strength. In our diversities, there is strength. So please appreciate the powerful choleric. Appreciate the peaceful phlegmatic. Appreciate the different personalities, because in our diversities, there is strength. Thank you. As we come to an end, it has been a good time, and I believe that we have all been sharpened and we are going to become better. So as I conclude, once again, thank you all for your cooperation. And I really want to also thank our director, Coach Boniface, for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.